Hello, everyone. I'm Sean from Courageour Frights.
And I'm Brian Soodle. I'm from the channel Earthbounder 89, where I host the Doki Daikaiju podcast with my friend Sean here.
Yep. And we just got back from watching Shin Ultraman. Schwack! And that's pretty much my knowledge of Ultraman, was that he jumps in the air and goes schwack! And he has the red light thing on his chest, and it
red and blue.
Yeah.
So
and none of that's in this movie. Yeah, none of this happens in this movie.
So definitely. But I guess before we jump into the movie itself, we'll talk about, I guess, prior knowledge of the series or what we knew about Ultraman. So
right.
You said you knew about the sound.
I knew that much. I knew. Actually, I have the show on DVD. And I think I don't know if I watched all of it, but I did try to watch it, and I got pretty far, but it's been probably like 5 or 6 years.
Okay. Did you watch it the dubbed version or the subtitled version?
I think I watched the subtitled version.
Okay, because I know I personally bought Ultraman on DVD from Kmart for like $7. It was the complete series, but it was from like when Mill Creek first got the license, so it was like really rough, like quality.
Yeah.
But the most recent releases they did on Blu-ray were excellent. So I've been enjoying those. Like I just finished watching probably a month or two ago Ultra Q in its entirety.
Okay.
And I'm in the middle of watching Ultraman, the first Ultraman series, because Ultraman, to those of you who don't know, is not an Ultra Q. So it's completely separate, individual, away from each other in a way.
Right.
So, and then it goes Ultra Q, Ultraman, Ultra 7, then Return of Ultraman, then there are a whole bunch of other ones.
Yeah, it goes on forever. And this movie, Shin Ultraman, also has Ultra Q references.
It does.
So the intro is all Ultra Q stuff.
And the intro sets the stage for the whole movie. So
yeah,
I think for those of you going in expecting the serious or weightiness or angst of Evangelion or Shin Godzilla, I think you better lower your expectations.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, but just so you don't get the wrong idea going in.
Yeah, this is very different from those two. And I wonder how much of it is because this is actually directed by Higuchi Shinji and not Anno. But Anno did write it and he produced it. So I don't know.
But I mean, some of the other projects that Higuchi Shinji did, though, like you said, was the live adaptation of Attack on Titan. Was that in line with the series? I mean, not considering the quality of the product, but the tone of it, was it serious or was it goofy? Or
I would say the tone was in line with the show. The content is way off, but I think the tone was fine. Like it was, it tried to be serious.
So, but yeah, like we said, as soon as you see this movie, I think there was a lot of hint backs or throwbacks to the original series. For those of you who watch the original Ultraman series, it starts with the twisting paint and it says Ultra Q. Then it comes in with the red screen. It says Ultraman, a Tokusatsu series. So in this movie, it has like Ultraman, or actually it has a Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, it says Shin Godzilla as it's swirling, and then it switches to Ultraman.
So, and the reason why it does that too, because not just because that preceded this film, but because spoilers, it's gonna happen. You can't avoid it.
You'll know.
But in this movie, they basically reused the Shin Godzilla design to make Shin Gomez.
Yeah.
So they show him coming out of like the mine, and it was just hysterical to see.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, and a great callback because, as most people know, Gomez has used the Godzilla suit as its like base. Same with like Gyrus or Girasse or whatever his name is. Although that's unfortunately not in the movie.
No, a lot of monsters were not in the movie. Most regrettably, my favorite Ultra Kaiju, Garamon.
There he is.
Kanashiso
Yes.
inai desu.
It's very
He was
sad.
not in the movie.
He's not.
So, and neither was Pigmon, the smaller version. But
yeah.
and he's a popular monster. So
there was quite a few kaiju in the movie. Most of them didn't do anything. Like most of them, there's like 6 at the beginning in that Ultra Q intro, and that we don't see do anything really.
Basically, there's a few main monsters, but the ones that were shown in passing, like we said, Gomez. There was Mammoth Flower. There is Pegula, Larugius, Kaigul, and Pagos. So those are basically like in a title card. Like, okay, here's something to. Oh, I remember that. And then it kind of cuts right into the meat of the story. Yeah,
they like show up and then they die, and then another one comes and then they die, and it's kind of the prologue is pretty much Ultra Q. Because it's pretty much stating that the SSSP, which is the organization that fights the kaiju, it has pretty much been defeating all these kaiju up till now. But they've getting more powerful each time. And now there's a new kaiju. So was this Noronga or something?
Yeah, the first one was Noronga. And this is the one that basically reuses like a Barragon suit. In the original series did anyway.
Yeah.
And he has like invisibility, like cloaking ability. And
it's like the Predator or Barragon.
Pretty much. But what happens is while he's wreaking havoc, then because if you've seen the original series, you know that I think it was Goronga was the monster. He was coming through space like in a blue looking pod or like meteor. And then Ultraman came from Nebula 78, I think it was, chasing him in a red one. And in the first episode, Shin Hayata is flying like the science patrol plane, and then when Goronga goes into the lake, Ultraman inadvertently hits Shin Hayata, kills him, and then offers to give him his life and merge with him.
Right.
So,
and that's kind of what happens here.
Kind of similar. You basically see like this impact happens, and then for whatever reason, none of the original characters from either Ultra Q or Ultraman are in this movie. They're a completely new set of characters. And basically the Ultraman character is played by, or shares a body with Kaminaga Shinji is the character name.
It can't just be Shin. It has to be Shinji because Anno.
Get in the robot.
Get in the Ultraman, Shinji.
Fight the angels. I mean the kaiju.
Yeah, well, there's maybe a reference to that at the end.
But
their take on Zeton is like very Evangelion.
Yeah. So basically what happens is you see Shinji trying to like rescue a kid in the forest. Ikinari all of a sudden. Yeah. And then he gets impacted or hits with something after this like crater impact. Then Ultraman kind of takes over his body, and Shinji's laying dead in the forest for the whole movie.
Yeah, he's dead in the forest the entire movie.
So he's basically like Ultraman's like a body snatcher in a way.
Yep. It's good times.
But like we said, the first monster he takes on is Noronga, and he does the spatium beam.
Yes.
Like this.
They do super slow-mo, so we know exactly how to do the pose. He goes in like this, and then he brings this arm out, and then he's just like, whoa.
So then he defeats him post haste, obliterates him.
He just like one-shots him.
Yeah, because he starts off all silver.
And then Ultraman,
he becomes red and silver. But throughout the movie, we see a number of color variations. Like he looks at one point green and silver. I guess maybe his power is depleted, or black and silver. It's kind of hard to tell.
It's so Bandai can release different versions of the same figure.
Though interestingly enough, we both went to the theaters here, and I peeked at all the goods because Japan's weird when it comes to theater goods. Like they sell them in the morning, but at nighttime, I guess depending on your location, like our local theater stops selling goods after a certain time.
And we went at like 6:30 p.m. So it's not like it was super late.
It was dead. Like this movie came out May 13th here, May 14th.
There was one other person in the theater besides us.
Yeah, it was just us three. And we were shocked kind of way because this movie, I think at this point's made 2 billion yen. So it's completely obliterated Shin Godzilla's box office.
Yeah.
So I think if we were to convert 2 billion yen into American dollars, what does that convert to? You just take off 2 decimal points.
Yeah. So maybe
I'm not sure
20
how much
million.
Yeah, okay. That's nothing. That's like advertising budget on like a Marvel film.
Right. Yeah. It's not going to be extreme.
So,
but Shin Godzilla, I think its entire run made like 90 million or something in Japan. Yeah, and that was like the most a Japanese live action thing it ever grossed or something.
Did it make more? I could have swore that King Kong vs. Godzilla, the original, still, I think adjusted for inflation, still made more.
Yeah, if you adjust for inflation, probably did more.
But yeah.
But yeah, this movie's also made on a fraction of the budget of like a Marvel thing. So
of course. I mean, with Toho being such a big company, it's kind of surprising. But it does show. Like, I think what was funny was, other than you can't avoid the COVID delays that happened, but there were, at one point this film was delayed indefinitely, whatever that means. But I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I don't either. There was something about Anno was having some kind of difficulties or something,
personal difficulties. But I think, like, if you were to look at like it definitely wasn't for the computer modeling or things that are special effects, because
the effects work in this is like, it's rough at times.
It's, I'll put it this way, it's not like there's missing textures or anything like cats, but the style that was used for the CGI, it didn't, like, Shin Godzilla looked more realistic. This looked plasticky.
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard to tell how much of it's intentional and how much of it's just they just dropped the ball on it. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not like they made it look like it was a suit with like the wrinkles or a zipper or anything. It was just very smooth looking, but it just looked off.
There was a lot of really weird choices with the effects work too. Like how Ultraman comes down, he stops like midair, and then he starts flipping. Like
you can't really explain it. He just starts going like this, like
right.
It looks like that scene from
Gamera versus Giron when he's on the like pull-up bar, like spinning. Yeah, it looked like that, except for he wasn't hanging on anything. He was just in the air.
And he sweet chin music, like the the one monster. But because the thing about this movie is, although it's like one continuous like motion picture, it's like 112 minutes. It feels like it's segmented. It's not that it's like broken down into acts, but like it feels like episodes in a way. Like the original show was 25 to 30 minutes an episode, and they always seem to wrap up very quickly. Like you'll be watching the plot, then it seems like in the last 2 or 3 minutes it gets solved and the episode's over. Right.
And that's what this has, like you said, it's very episodic. And this is like 5 episodes or something put together, because you get Kaiju 1, which is Naranga, and then Kaiju 2 shows up later on, which is Gabora.
Gabora. So and very similar kind of monsters, like quadrupedal,
I think both of them used Baragon suit, like in the original show. And then that Zarab or something shows up.
Yeah, that's a little alien, which is kind of, it does really play back to like that kind of kitschy kind of Showa stuff, but it's kind of cool in a way.
Yeah. And then it's so that alien shows up, and then another alien shows up later on, Mephilos.
Yeah, and he has a human form. And then, because basically what happens with the to go back to Zarab is he impersonates, I think, Shinji and tries to make Ultraman look bad and like people not to trust him. But it wraps up very quickly.
Yeah. But the point is, all of these storylines, they don't flow like from one to another. It's just like unrelated things that just happen.
Yeah. Like, it's just very disjointed, it feels like. Then after that, though, because the cool thing was he uses like a Destructo. I'm not sure the original name, but like go to Dragon Ball, or like a Destructo disc to like slice Zarab in half.
Zarab,
was pretty cool. But after that, though, Mephiles was the next alien, and his fight ends really quickly too, because basically what he does, his main plot point was like the beta capsule that Shinji uses to become Ultraman. Basically, this alien shows humans that they can become giants too, and the one character, Asami, he makes her a giant, much to her dismay.
Yeah.
They tie her down like under a bunch of tarps.
Yeah, it's like Gulliver's Travels, which he even mentioned in the movie.
But after that, though, while Ultraman is fighting this alien, Mephiles, like he converts into like this alien-looking creature. After Ultraman's superior Zophie comes down, he kind of just like,
he just leaves. Yeah, he just pieces out, and you never see him again. That fight is probably one of the better ones, except for it just randomly ends, because that's the only time that Ultraman does like any fighting moves. Yeah, I mean, well, the cool thing he did in the Gabora fight, he kind of like he lifts him up and he kind of swings him. Yeah, like Mario 64. That was pretty funny. But yeah. Other than that, though, you don't get any of the grunts or the sounds like from the fights. No. But I don't know. I think what was funny too, to go back to the original series, what kind of, because when I grew up watching the Godzilla series, so there's always music, like really thematic music going on in the battles, which added to it. Like it made suspense or really get you pumped. Right. The Ultraman series has no music during the fights. It just, you hear like that. Yeah. And it's just kind of weird. And this movie, he doesn't even do any sounds during the fights. So that's even weirder. Like, or when he jumps up to fly, nothing. You just hear like. Yeah, and sometimes they do the classic sound effects, just like Shin Godzilla. The explosion sound like a 60s like when the was the B2 Spirit was dropping the bombs. Which is also a callback to Shin Godzilla, because they use B2 bombers in that too. And it's like they have the classic effects. They do have some music from original Ultraman, also from Evangelion and some other things. But remember when I made Evangelion, guys? Yeah, he's got always Anno always has to call back to the stuff he's already made. So yeah, and then at the end, the final battle is Zophie gets scared, I guess, because Mephiles has the thing that can make people giant. Yeah, because Ultraman had the beta capsule, and this was like the beta box, they called it. Yeah, the beta max, if you will. Beta max, yeah. So, and because during the battle with Mephiles, they have the SSP helicopter, and Ultraman grabs it and like throws it into the helicopter or something. Yeah. But what, like you were saying, what Zophie does is he creates Zeton. Yeah, he creates Zeton, which is different than the original series. Zeton's an alien that well, spoilers if you haven't seen the original series, Zeton ends up killing essentially the original Ultraman. Right. The final kaiju in the series. Right. Which, spoilers for this is all spoilers. The same thing kind of happens here, but it's more like Ultraman sacrifices himself. Yeah. But there's two battles basically with Zeton. Like the first time he goes to space to fight him, he kind of gets his butt whooped, and then he kind of is recovering. Because then also Zeton overheats or whatever and has to, charge up again, charging his laser, He's firing his laser. But Zeton in the regular Zeton in the real show is like goofy looking, man. Looks like a beetle or something. Yeah, he's goofy looking, but he's like a kaiju though. Yeah. He's like 10 times bigger than Ultraman. It looks like Zone of the Enders or something. I don't know. Yeah, and he's weird geometric shapes. Like prisms, yeah. So like satellites, like combining or something. Right, yeah. So like it's not a moon; it's a space station. That's no moon. But people who watch the Courageour Frights podcast might know that Hoon has mentioned this several times, that he makes fun of Evangelion because Anno has basically like geometric shapes fighting the Evangelions, because the angels, as they call them, they're kaiju in Evangelion. A lot of times they show up and it's like a cube, or like a weird like prism or some crap, and it's like, what the hell is this? That's basically what Zeton is in this. Zeton is like a gigantic prism thing.
Yeah, it's like you said, shapes. It looks like a humanoid like figure in the sky.
It's like shaped vaguely like Zeton from the show, like
the antenna and like the two yellow parts,
the big yellow boobs in the front. But it looks like Zeton, but it's not. It's like it's huge.
It's Shin Zeton.
Shin Zeton, yeah, and it's enormous. It's like 20 times bigger than Ultraman.
So, and like Sean was saying, basically the second time Ultraman goes into space to fight him, what he does is he activates the beta capsule a second time when he comes in contact with Zeton as he's about to fire his death ray or whatever,
fire his laser.
Humanity. And basically what it does is it creates a black hole and it sucks them both in, and then it kind of takes him into like this nebulous region where Zophi meets up with Ultraman.
Right. Yeah, and we get the iconic Ultraman pose where he does like the fists and grows.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that throwback.
He does that, but they do it like 4 times.
Yeah.
In a row. And at no point does he do the shwa.
Yeah, that was a little. I guess that's
no sound. No sound. He just does the fist to the camera, and they do that like 4 times in a row though, because he keeps growing. I guess, I don't know, because I didn't know he could do that when he already did it once. He just keeps doing it.
I don't ever remember that in the original series. Not that I've watched every single episode, but up until the point I've watched, I'm told not that Zophi brought Zeton upon the Earth either.
Right.
So they kind of took a little creative liberty.
Yeah. Zeton, this is almost like something that the Ultraman group uses to destroy planets that are becoming dangerous or something. Yeah.
Because basically then because Zophi's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's kind of like chiding Ultraman. He's like, why are you siding with these humans? Like, they're an inferior race. Like, it's, I guess, like Saiyans looking at humans or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And but then Zophi's heart grew 3 sizes that day after Shinji gave Taki the USB with like how to defeat. It's like it kind of harkens back almost a way to Shin Godzilla with the I guess the DNA kind of thing. I guess they figured out the puzzle.
Yeah, and this one they figure it out with PlayStation VR.
The guy's like reading off like the mathematical formulas
in like the worst English ever put on screen.
So
I'm almost 100% certain his lines are being fed to him through the VR thing.
A good possibility. It was jarring to say this. I think what was frustrating is because there's no subtitles in this film at all. And there was no option. And there was some part like they showed like they had scientific reports in English, and you wish they would stop for you to be able to read it, and they just zoom past and you're like,
because it's probably all nonsense, so they just had to skip it.
Yeah.
That would be something.
There's no
people
orthogonal diagonalizer.
Orthogonal diagonal. That should have been a thing.
Hey, it's a Toho production, so they could have done it.
They could have done it. Orthogonal diagonalizers need to be in every kaiju thing.
Every tokusatsu.
Even though it's literally the oxygen destroyer, but okay.
But I think, what was it? Yeah, so essentially, because the humans teamed up and they had teamwork, Zophi changes his mind against hurting the humans and basically takes Ultraman back to the nebula, and then Shinji comes back to life, and it ends with "Okaerinasai." So welcome back, Shinji. Then it just
literally ends. Yeah, the second he comes to life, the movie ends. It's like, okay.
I guess it leaves it open to interpretation. I guess, but I don't think they're going to do an Ultraman sequel per se. There was no post-credit scene.
Nah, there's nothing. But, this may be a complete one-off, and probably is. Just like Shin Godzilla, there's no sequel.
So, I mean, we did see the preview for Shin Kamen Rider, which
Shin Kamen Rider,
strangely enough looked way more
looked super serious. Yeah.
So, and arguably of all the series, it's like comes off as the most goofy. Like,
I'm holding out hope for Starfish Hitler. To make an appearance in Shin Kamen Rider.
So we'll leave it up to the board of trustees if that makes the final cut.
Shin Starfish Hitler. Or maybe they'll update it for the present day and it'll be Starfish Putin, yeah. Urchin Putin or something.
Urchin Putin. Putin. Let's be Putin Pudding.
Putin Pudding. Yeah. So, what would you rate this movie out of 10?
Overall, there was nothing offensive about the film.
No.
I guess it won't really upset longtime fans, but it won't gain any new fans to the series. It won't convert anybody. Like I think with Shin Godzilla, I was a longtime Godzilla fan. For me, it wasn't my favorite, but
same.
It has its place in history.
Mm.
But I think it's not so much that we dislike Shin Godzilla; it's the fan base that kind of got overzealous with them,
right?
Basically, disregarding the rest of the series. But I think with this movie, though, it's not going to gain any converts like that because of the tone of the film alone.
Right.
A little more on the goofy side. The effects are nothing to write home about. The stories are a little disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think it's a very middle of the road film. I would rate it a 6, maybe on a good day, 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So,
I would say that's fair. I would give it like a 6 out of 10.
I'd watch it again, but it wouldn't be the first movie. I wouldn't rush to buy it though. Like if I saw it on sale, I'd get it.
Yeah, I would definitely watch it again, especially with like subtitles or something. But
definitely, I mean that also could affect our enjoyment of the film because we're not peta or fluent in Japanese. But
right? Yeah, I mean, I know enough to understand the gist of it, but yeah, it's the nuance or whatever.
I think the lack of monsters too. Like our monster battles.
Yeah.
No, we can't have talking in these films. We just want monsters fighting. But I think Ultraman, a lot of it was those fights that made the series kind of charming.
Right. And if you take into account how many fights are in the show, it's a lot more than this because an episode's only like 25 minutes and a whole episode would be dedicated to like one kaiju, and it's not like they fought for 25 minutes, but they still had that storyline.
Exactly. You saw more of the monsters.
Yeah, the monsters, the true kaiju, not counting the aliens that turn into a kaiju form or whatever, but the true actual kaiju, each one, Naranga and
5 minutes screen time
at most. Yeah, Naranga and Gabora have like maybe 5 minutes for their whole storyline. It's like not too much. A big chunk of it is when the aliens show up.
And they have press conferences.
Well, yeah, it's like Shin Godzilla in that regard.
But so I had my rating. So would you kind of rate it the same? Or
yeah, I said I would give it a 6 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And like you said, it's not going to bring any new fans in, I don't think, anyway. Like me personally, I'm not an Ultraman fan. I'm aware of it. You can't possibly not be aware of it, especially if you live in Japan, because there's Ultraman stuff everywhere.
I think that's the trouble with it too. Is I think because the series is still ongoing, it's hard to believe that this would be someone's first Ultraman. I mean, I know there's always a first for everybody. Like when especially with Godzilla, it could be Matthew Broderick's film or the Showa films or Heisei films, but because there's still Ultraman shows going on, and there's a plethora of all these series. Yeah,
it's everywhere. The only way it could possibly be your introduction to the series is if you're somebody from like America or another country that Ultraman doesn't inundate the culture, and you see this because you saw Shin Godzilla
connection.
And if you go to see this because of Shin Godzilla, I think you'll hate this movie because it's very different tone.
Mm. And I think defending it, like, you can't say it's better than any of the other entries in the series.
Mm.
So,
yeah. So I think that's probably gonna wrap it up for our review of Shin Ultraman. So
definitely. So, but like we said though, with anything, go see it for yourself.
Oh yeah, sure.
When you can. I mean, it's not in the States. It's only in Japan.
Yeah, I don't know when it's coming out. Yeah.
So, I guess if based on history, Funimation will do the subtitling or the dubbing eventually for the film.
Right,
so.
or Crunchyroll now, because Crunchyroll kind of owns Funimation.
Tokyo Pop, you know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so that's gonna do it for this review on Shin Ultraman. So you can catch on our channel. My channel is Courageour Frights, which we'll probably upload the video on here. And then where can people find you?
So, like I said before, you can find me at Earthbounder89, EARTHBOUNDER89. So on YouTube. So you can catch up with all the episodes of the Doki Doki Daikaiju podcast or any of my unboxings or etc. videos. So head over there, give me a like, subscribe if you're new.
Yep, definitely go over there. If you're one of my guys, go check his channel out. Lots of good stuff. Okay. All right, so that's going to do it this time. So if you like what you see, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and you too can feel the strength welling within.
I know I do.
Yeah. All right, see you guys.
Thanks.